What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Kizzy Show. My name is JD Keziah, and we're going to talk about what you want to hear. That's our whole slogan right here on the show. As some of y'all might notice, we're filming in a new location. This is at my apartment here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Alabama? Wow, this is crazy. Off to a rough start. First episode of the new season. So, new season, new logo, as some of y'all can see from back there. Ta-da! Pretty cool. Kizzy Show, we talk about what you want to hear. New Kizzy Crew helped me film this out. My buddy Wesley Aziz is running the camera. And my other friend Tanner Galani, who's right now blowing up my commode, he actually made us dinner. So you may see some more from these guys. And hopefully you'll see more from Silas. He couldn't make it today. So I'm going to be flying solo for this one. So we have a great show planned for y'all today. We are going to end up giving a little preseason outlook for the upcoming college football year. We're not going to do any week one predictions or analyzing those games. We're going to save that for next Saturday. But we're just going to do a little bird's eye view preseason analysis of college football. Before we do that, though, I am going to share a pretty awesome conspiracy theory with y'all. So stay tuned for that. So, most of y'all have probably heard of the band Black Sabbath. Their lead singer, Ozzy Osbourne, actually died a couple weeks ago. Tragic, man. Rest in peace. But, I don't know if y'all knew this, but Black Sabbath actually predicted that Robert Downey Jr. would play Dr. Doom. Let me explain. I've had this theory for a very long time, and I've only seen one other person on Instagram propose this idea. I wish I remembered who it was because I'd give him a shout out, but I didn't. So this is my idea. I came up with it. I definitely did not steal this from anybody. I've had it for a long time, but I don't know if I was first. Anyways, on September 18th, 1970, that was 55 years ago, Black Sabbath.
Can you do the math for us?
Can I do the math? It's 55 years.
Show the calculator.
No, I don't need a calculator. It's 55.
Do it in the calc.
2025 minus 1970.
You can't do it that fast.
55. Oh, you're saying I need a calc? Okay. I did use a calc.
You did use a calc.
Confirmed calc. Anyways, Black Sabbath released their second album called Paranoid, which featured the hit song Iron Man. And the lyrics are about a man who's turned to steel after traveling back in time, and now he executes revenge on a people whom he once tried to save. Whenever the guy who wrote this song, he did not know about the Marvel superhero called Iron Man because they wrote this song before Iron Man was even in the comics.
No.
So, no.
You are wrong about that.
Hold up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting a word from my fact checker, Mr. Marvel, Tanner Galani, says I'm wrong on that fact about Iron Man. Was Iron Man already around in 1970?
I'm pretty sure.
He's pretty sure. So,
Let me do a little quick fact check.
Okay, but before the Marvel Cinematic Universe came out, that song had already been around for a long time because the MCU did not start till 2008 when Marvel released Iron Man, the protagonist of the movie, Tony Stark, who's actually Iron Man. I don't know if y'all knew that or not. He's played by this guy named Robert Downey Jr.
The first issue was in 62.
So Iron Man had been around for 8 years before this song. So Black Sabbath knew about Iron Man.
Perhaps.
But perhaps they also knew that Robert Downey Jr. would play Dr. Doom. Let me continue with the theory. So, 2019, Avengers Endgame. The Avengers saved the world by using time travel. And Iron Man actually ends up dying at the end of the movie. Sorry, I hate to spoil the movie if you haven't seen it already. But Iron Man actually dies at the end. So, you're starting to say, what does that have to do with Black Sabbath? Glad you asked. Here are the lyrics to Iron Man pulled up for you on the slide. As you can see, in verse number 3, it says, he was turned to steel. I know it's cut off. Just deal with it, okay? This is a low-budget show. He was turned to steel in the great magnetic field. Aha, when he traveled time. In-game, cello, welcome to the MCU, for the future of mankind. He did that to save the world, like he did in Endgame. Did Black Sabbath know he'd do that in Endgame? Maybe they did. Anyways, where's it going? Okay, the song Goes on to talk about Iron Man dying in verse 4. Vengeance from the grave. The grave implies he died like he did in Endgame. Hello, you starting to see the connections right here? Are you starting to see what I'm seeing? Are you smelling what I'm stepping in? Mm-hmm. Yes. Anyways, going on. You might say, you're talking about Iron Man. What does that have to do with Doctor Doom? Because you said Black Sabbath would predict that Robert Downey Jr. would play Doctor Doom, not Iron Man. Glad you asked. The song talks about Iron Man coming back. He's coming back to kill a people he once saved. This is where the Doctor Doom comes in. So Doctor Doom is not a good guy. In fact, he's a Thanos-level threat that the Avengers need to assemble to stop. And after the Jonathan Majors stuff, we're not going to get into that, Marvel needed a new big bad guy to replace Kang the Conqueror for the multiverse saga. And they chose Doctor Doom. Here's what Doctor Doom looks like. For those of y'all who don't know. There's Iron Man. There's Doctor Doom. Kind of similar, but yet a little different. See, Doctor Doom, he has a suit made of steel. And he's evil. But hone in on what I said about his suit being made out of steel as we go back to the Black Sabbath lyrics. You look down to verse 3, talking about Iron Man, says he was turned to steel in the great magnetic field. Cello, starting to see some connections here.
Steel is an iron, so it should be steel, man.
Dude, literally nobody asked. Iron Man is iron. Doctor Doom is steel. Huge difference here. Am I right? Yes, thank you. All right.
Doctor Doom is magic.
Doctor Doom's made out of magic. He's also made out of steel.
He's not made out of magic.
Cello.
He's not made out of steel
Okay, all right, okay. Hey, every conspiracy theory has some holes, but this one's pretty holy. It's okay. So, Doctor Doom wears a suit made out of steel, and he is evil. Oh, that's the logo. Hold up. Here are the lyrics. So, Doctor Doom would be a person who would kill the people he wants. But wait. JD, this song has nothing to do with Doctor Doom. It's talking about Iron Man, okay? It's talking about killing a people he once saved. Iron Man's not coming back to kill a people he once saved. Black Sabbath has nothing to do with this. Here's where we get back to the real story. So, Marvel needs somebody to play Doctor Doom, okay? And who do they cast? They cast Robert Downey Jr. The same guy who played? Does anybody know? Iron Man, yeah, that's right. So y'all starting to see some connections here. Iron Man is coming back as Doctor Doom to kill a people he once saved, to get vengeance from the grave, to fill his victims full of dread. Running as fast as I can. Iron Man lives again as Doctor Doom in the MCU. Who saw this coming? We did, because Black Sabbath told us 55 years ago. Black Sabbath told us that Robert Downey Jr. would play Doctor Doom. Let me wrap it up. It is so obvious Black Sabbath predicted this event because they said that Iron Man would travel back in time. Ding, he did. In game, he'd be turned to steel. Ding, as Doctor Doom. He would die. Yes, we all saw it in game. And then come back to kill people he once saved. So therefore, Black Sabbath predicted Robert Downey Jr. would play Doctor Doom. If you disagree with this theory, please let me know in the comments. But the evidence is pretty conclusive. So, let's get back with the show after I do a shameless plug. So, for those of y'all who know, on our channel we have these things called super segments. They're the Kizzy Show, but in bite-sized chunks for all of y'all who don't have enough time to sit down and watch the full episode. Because I know sitting and listening to me talk can be really boring. You're like, oh, I got to do this for 20 minutes. With the super segments, you don't. They're only like 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Even the long ones might be 7 minutes, whatever. So go check out super segments on the Kizzy Show channel. Anyways, back to the episode. So as y'all know, the 2025 college football season is 2 weeks away. And as someone who lives in the South, in fact, in the heart of Dixie, Alabama, and in the college football capital of the world, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Roll Tide, I'm super excited for this season. So, like I said in the intro, we're going to save our Week 1 predictions for Week 1. I actually forgot if I said that or not. So, if I didn't say that, we're saving predictions for our Week 1 games for next week. So, they're a little fresh. But, we're going to do a little bird's eye view for for the season. Excuse the watch real quick. Let's react to the AP poll, which dropped last Monday. Here it is. For those of y'all who would like to see, I'm going to get it out of the way so y'all can see. Wesley, can they see the entire AP poll in frame?
See it.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so I'm going to do a little reaction to it. First of all, let's pick an overrated team. A team that is ranked way too high for where they should be. And if you take a look at number 18 right here, the Oklahoma Sooners, guys, they went 6-6 last year. 6-6, and they're number 18. They're ahead of not just one playoff team, but two playoff teams from last year. Now, I get it. Indiana and Boise State, nobody thought they were going to win the national championship. They didn't really have a shot. But still, to go 6-6 and then start the next year ahead of two playoff teams, come on, y'all. I don't care how good of an offseason you have. That is way too high. That's a little ridiculous. So, Oklahoma is very overrated, especially I got to see that offense to believe it. Their offense was doggy doo-doo last year. So if they don't have a half-decent offense, they're not going to make a bowl game because their schedule is brutal. Let's talk about an underrated team. I'm going to talk about a team that's not even on this board right now. So I'm going to sit down. I'm talking about the Louisville Cardinals. They come out of a conference, the ACC, Atlantic Coast Conference, which had two playoff teams last year, and Louisville beat one of them. They beat Clemson, who won the conference, and they lost a very close game to SMU, who also made the playoff. And they returned most of their starters from that team from last season. So they returned a good core guys to build around, and then they filled all their needs in the portal. Like at quarterback, got Miller Moss from USC, pretty good. Dude can sling it. And also, you talk about a pretty easy path to the playoff. Well, I don't want to say easy because the ACC is full of teams that kind of sneak up on you. Like, you don't think Georgia Tech is good until you have to go play them at their place, and then they beat you, and your season's ruined. Or Syracuse. As a lifelong Clemson fan, I know that Syracuse can really screw up your season. They have done that a lot. So the ACC is tricky, but I'd rather play Georgia Tech and Syracuse than play LSU, play Florida, play Texas in my conference. So Louisville has a manageable route to the playoff, like SMU last year. Very favorable conference schedule. So, overrated team, underrated team. Would I change anything about this AP poll? Yeah, I would. I would, actually. I think there's too much emphasis on the offseason. Take a team like Florida at number 15. I think they're a little overrated. Oklahoma, whom I talked about. Last year on the field, they did not do great. Now, I know you're like, oh, Florida had the hardest schedule in the country. Well, they still only won is like, what, either 6 or 7 games? I mean, nothing crazy. Nothing worth being ranked number 15. And Oklahoma, I already talked about them. And then take a look at the top 4 for me real quick. So, as y'all know, Ohio State won the national championship. And here's a little side note. I think in the preseason polls, the defending national champ should always be ranked number 1 because that just makes sense. Because somebody else has to beat them to be number 1. So I think Ohio State should be number 1. But that's just me. But you see here that Penn State is ranked above Ohio State. Penn State, I'll get it. They made the playoff semifinal. They return a lot all season. Penn State should not be ranked above Ohio State. There's just no way. Also, Clemson being ranked above Georgia. Clemson lost in the first round of the playoffs. Georgia made it to the quarterfinals.
He's saying that as a Clemson fan.
Saying that as a thank you, Taryn. But once again, this show is not biased. Absolutely, you might be like, oh, Clemson looks better on paper than Georgia. Well, excuse me, sir. When's the last time we played a football game on a piece of paper? You don't play football on paper. What'd you say?
Paper football.
We ain't playing paper football. This is a man's sport right here. Put on the pads, get on the field. That's where teams are made right here. Teams, you can look amazing on paper and be butt cheeks on the field. Take Florida State last year. Perfect example. On paper, should have won the conference, but they went 2-10. 2-10, people. So, anyways, what's my point here? What would I change about the AP poll? There's too much emphasis on the offseason, about how you look here on paper and not enough emphasis about how you really look on the field. So that's my reaction to the AP poll. That is our first point in our preseason preview. We have 3 more points coming right up. Second topic of discussion is a little debate I've heard some people having is about which conference is the best conference in college football. Now, if you have a brain, you know there's 2 options right here. The SEC and the Big Ten. And I'm going to explain which conference is currently superior and why. I'm not doing historical dominance of the sport because it's obviously the SEC if we do that. But which conference is currently superior and why? Some of y'all might get mad with this, okay? I think the SEC is obviously better than the Big Ten. Like, everybody's saying that the Big Ten is now the best conference in college football. It's like, oh, they've had the best 2 national champions, Ohio State and Michigan. First of all, Michigan cheated, so that's the only reason why. But when you look at the conferences as a whole, all right, from top to bottom, SEC versus Big Ten. You know how in basketball they do those like conference like challenges where they basically match up every team with another team from the other conference? I wish we did one in football, just SEC and Big Ten, just kind of settle this. Because I think the SEC, let's see, there's 16 members in each conference. So 16 games. I think the SEC would win 10. Honestly, I think they win more than 10. I'm saying 14. I think besides Missouri and Vanderbilt, if you put all the matchups right there, SEC goes 14 out of 16 against the Big Ten. Maybe that's a little ridiculous, but I think they for sure could. Because when you consider the mid-SEC teams like the South Carolinas, the Floridas, the Texas A&Ms, the Oklahomas of the conference, those are teams that are pushing for playoff spots right here. And then you look at kind of the mid-Big Ten teams like take your Illinois. Actually, Illinois is pretty good. Indiana did make the playoff, but got destroyed in the first round, like Northwestern or UCLA or even, Washington. They went to the national championship game 2 years ago, but since they joined the Big Ten, it's kind of been a little dip. They may start to trend up, but I don't know. I don't see those teams fighting for playoff spots. Maybe this year, but actively, the SEC is far superior to the Big Ten. Our next topic of preseason discussion is some wild card teams. Talk like teams that can go 11-1 or 5-7. We're going to talk about 2 today. I can see these 2 teams making a deep run in the playoff, maybe even going to the national championship. Or I can see them in Birmingham at the Birmingham Bowl. So, first teams from the SEC is the South Carolina Gamecocks. They have a superstar at quarterback. His name is Lenore Sellers. This guy can play. Just ask any Clemson fan around, like me. He terrorized our defense, even though they only scored 17. So, he made some just crazy plays that made you want to punch a hole right in the TV. And that guy, that boy can play. He's good. He's really good. Question on offense is, can they surround him with enough talent to where he doesn't have to be Superman every game? We saw last year with another team that had a quarterback like him. The Alabama Crimson Tide last year made Jalen Milroe have to be Superman every game in order to win. And as we saw, that's a recipe for a very inconsistent team. Also, South Carolina has a bunch of holes on defense they need to replace. So if they can't shore those up, they're in for a lot of trouble in that SEC. As we just said, it's the best conference in football, so you better bring your big boy pants to the game. Next team is Miami coming out of the ACC. We talked a little bit earlier about Louisville and how they have a very manageable path to the playoff. So does Miami. I think they have a pretty easy conference schedule. So if Carson Beck is back to the shape he was 2 years ago with Georgia, Miami should be pretty good because I hear that their O-line and their D-line are both elite. We're going to find out week 1 against Notre Dame what they're really made of. But if they can shore up, well, first of all, their defense was atrocious last year. They need to fix the defense. That's top priority. If they can fix the defense and get consistent play out of Carson Beck, they should be good. But If they can't, we're looking at 7 wins, probably. And then they're going to find another quarterback next year, and they just keep doing this. I don't think this is a recipe for long-term success. But anyways, not talking about that. I'm just talking about this year. So, an excellent question that just came up is, which coach needs to win big the most this year? Now, there are a bunch of coaches on the hot seat, like Hugh Freeze at Auburn, Brent Venables at Oklahoma. Those are names I hear all the time. Even Billy Napier down at Florida, although his seat kind of cooled off after the way he handled that schedule last year. But which coach needs to win big? I want to emphasize, win big. Talking like deep run in the playoffs, national title level. I think the answer right here is pretty obvious. It's Brian Kelly. See, Brian Kelly is the winningest coach in Notre Dame history. Notre Dame. It's not some chump little university here. We're talking about Notre Dame. They got prestige in the college football world. He left Notre Dame because he thought he couldn't win a national championship there. He said, y'all will never make it. Last year, Notre Dame made it to the national championship. They didn't win, but they made it to the national championship. Brian Kelly went to LSU to win national championships. LSU did not even make the playoff. They did not even make it to the SEC championship. Notre Dame went to the national championship. You see why I'm emphasizing win big here? He needs to win big. His whole reason he came down to Baton Rouge was to win national championships. In fact, LSU has never been over 10 wins with Brian Kelly. So, this is kind of a prove-it year for Brian Kelly. It starts week 1 against Clemson. That's going to tell us a lot about both teams. They have a gauntlet to run the SEC. You got to go through Alabama, Georgia, Texas. I can't remember if they play those teams all in the regular season, but in Atlanta, they're probably going to face one of those teams. So, it's a prove-it year. Got to win big for Brian Kelly. So this concludes our 2025 college football preseason outlook. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end. I just want to close with some announcements for the show. You will get a full Kizzy Show episode once per week, most likely on Saturday. You're guaranteed full episode a week starting this week. And super segments are available on the channel as we have need per episode. Big announcement right here. We're starting a new devotional series tomorrow morning on this channel. It's called Setting the Tone. Pretty much I'll be walking y'all through what I've been reading in God's Word, in the Bible. Because I believe starting your day off in the Bible sets the tone for the rest of your day. So be sure to tune in to that. Should be good. Also, this is not finalized yet, but Silas and I, we've been talking with our granddad, Nick Keziah, who I like to call Pappy, and we might be starting another devotional series on the channel called Students of Scripture, where we study the Bible together. So that's not finalized yet, but Setting the Tone that starts tomorrow morning. Full episode once a week. Thank you guys once again so much for watching this episode of the Kizzy Show. God bless, and y'all have a great week.